In this series, we're looking at some of Australia and New Zealand's most beautifully designed hotels. Welcome to Hotels by Design. Our design industry leaders have gathered via Zoom to judge each hotel on originality, aesthetics, sustainability and service. But ultimately, only one will be crowned the best of the best.
There's a huge variety of hotels, lodges and resorts in this series. So many different scales as well. So we've got massive big resorts, beautiful views, but then the boutique is celebrated as well and all the rich history.
Coming up this episode, Angela finds a funky hidden gem in Sydney. Mike's found high design on the Gold Coast, and I'm heading for the trees at this lodge near Rotorua. First up though, Simon's flying into a super luxury villa at the top of the South Island.
It's the FALCON BRAE Lodge and Villa. It's absolutely amazing.
The use of local stone to create that beautiful fireplace forms a strong backdrop. This is a place that's about being immersed in the landscape.
There's all the luxury of a hotel in the middle of nowhere.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to FALCON BRAE. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Simon. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
When we took over the property, it was in a bit of a state of disrepair. And so we've planted 50,000 manuka across the property, as well as 25,000 other natives.
So were all these tracks here?
No, we put in 18 kilometres of walking tracks across the property, and we want to show it off.
This is full service. Tell us about what you mean by that.
Yeah, so it's our version of butler service.
You don't look very much like a butler, though.
I do not look much like a butler, no. We want the guests to have everything and that they need while they're staying with us, but we don't want to be intrusive or too formal. We want the guests to be relaxed as soon as they walk in the door.
I try to source as much stuff as possible locally. A good general rule of thumb in the Nelson region is 200 kilometres. If you can get it with a map, that's perfect scenario. It's very inspirational having all these products on your doorstep.
So tell us a bit about how you came to this valley, because it's a pretty special spot.
It just had everything for us. Sunshine was one thing for New Zealand, but it had the 4 seasons, where we lived in the tropics. It was just 2 seasons, wet and wetter.
This area is right in the middle of 3 national parks. So we've got the Abel Tasman National Park on the coast, and then we've got the Kahurangi National Park. We've also got the Nelson Lakes National Park, so we're right in the middle of all 3. So for tourists coming here, it's an ideal situation.
It's not a lodge or a hotel, we call it a villa, and when you rent this out as exclusive use, you're really renting a home. Our point of difference is it's a home, but we've got the service behind it as well, your private chef and wait staff as well.
So John, tell us a bit about the bar, because this is obviously a really big, important part of the room.
Just as the kitchen is the hub of the dining area, this is the hub of the entertainment area. And also the canopy on the top sort of makes it nice and cosy as well in this big, large room. The main role of the building design was to capture the view as much as we could. So it overlooks Kahurangi National Park. Not that you can see a lot today, but the view is everything, I think, the hero of this location.
So I've just spent a night at FALCON BRAE Villa. I think what I've loved most about it is that it is a home. It's not a hotel. And that's really what gives it such a lovely feeling. I really can't wait to come back.
The OVOLO Valley is a beautiful hotel, and Rachel Lachetti has done a wonderful job in creating these different hubs that people can experience during their stay.
They say that great architecture is like frozen music. Well, here at the OVOLO in Brisbane, they've actually gone with a rock and roll theme. And in terms of the overall design, this is an architectural jam session. Now, any place where you're greeted with a giant magnolia on entry, I know you're in for a treat. Rach, what are we looking at?
The owner is really passionate about installations, unique installations, taking you out of your comfort zone. It's meant to be quite immersive, so that when you come in here, you sort of feel quite dwarfed by the scale of it all. The way we approach the design of these spaces is it's sort of an unfolding of spaces you'd see in something like a big rambling house, something like the gaming Cluedo, you know?
Right.
With the conservatory, you've got the library.
Into the kitchen area, and it's almost like a stage set changing.
Yeah, exactly. So in the morning, they set up this kitchen table with all of the fruits, fresh breads and things, and you can help yourself at the kitchen table.
Wow.
So this is a bit of a private dining space. You can book this out right near the kitchen and enjoy it with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, I love this. Every door opens up onto another surprise.
That's right. And here we are in the harem.
Now, Rach, I've often thought of creating a harem suite. What are the key elements?
Just comfortable, curtains, and then just that real plush sort of element as well.
Welcome to the kitchen.
Thank you, mate. What are we looking at?
We're doing some fresh and vibrant vegetarian dishes. All the food and everything that we're doing, it's elegant but simple. Big flavors, but not overcomplicated. Yes, behind the scene we might smoked it and sous vide and did all this chefy stuff, but to the customer it's a beautiful cauliflower, right?
Yeah, right. I think something's on fire. These are the Rockstar suites, and Steve, you're my access all areas man.
That's what I try to be. AAA pass.
Tell us about the decor.
So we're really lucky we've been able to work with an amazing architectural and design firm with a world-renowned Woods Bagot. So across our hotels we've got amazing art and design. Particularly in this hotel, it's been curated by Kathleen Wilson, our art curator.
Now, good interior design and good architecture is always based on a strong concept, and this is rock and roll in here.
Absolute rock and roll. Across all of our OVOLO properties, there's a bit of a music cue that comes through, and we just love having fun, and music's a big part of it.
Let me guess who this is. This is Prince.
Absolutely. Purple Rain. So obviously this is where the rock star parties happen, but let's go have a look where the magic happens.
Oh dear, I can just imagine, Steve. Some of the rock and roll stories in here. No televisions out the window, I hope.
No televisions out the window, but some great music being played, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You've got custom-made Art Deco shelves with little curiosities in them which represent Prince and the music that inspired this suite as well, and down to the bedheads, which again has that Art Deco cue as well.
Yeah, and this is only one rock and roll suite.
Absolutely, there's another one, Major Tom, after Bowie.
Nice. There are a lot of ideas and styles colliding here at the OVOLO in Brisbane. It's almost like a compilation album of interior design. It's rock and roll, it's eclectic, but I like it. Yes, I do.
The old CLARE Hotel. Now, this is a surprise, but it's lovely to see how an old pub has been reused and repurposed as a 69-room hotel.
It's had a faithful restoration, and I think the application of even the new interiors fit really comfortably within the space.
Every city has one, a creative precinct where the cool people are. You know, the artists, the hipsters, the bohemian, unique thinkers. Well, here in Sydney, that place is Chippendale.
Chippendale is a great area. It's been a bit of a secret, I guess, for people that don't come from Sydney. Locals have been coming here for a long time, go to the art galleries, go to the cafes, pubs that are around. And the old CLARE, I guess, allows people now to also come into this neighbourhood and really experience this part of Sydney.
This was part of a much bigger project, wasn't it?
Yes, well, it was part of the redevelopment of the Carlton United Brewery.
And we've got two buildings. We've got the old pub.
Yes.
And then we've got the old office admin building.
Yeah, so this was the administration building, it built in different times. So the old CLARE Hotel was the more sort of deco styled. And then this building, what was called the Carlton United Brewery Administration building, was a much more sort of Victorian building, which was for offices. And they're kind of merged together at some point.
And what's happened here? You've got a big hole in this wall.
Yes, so this is very much about unbuilding.
Unbuilding.
Yeah, so we've literally taken this fantastic old brick shoebox and we've sliced a piece out of it, which allows the new walkways to come into it.
Oh my goodness. Tim, this is gorgeous.
It's amazing, isn't it? So this was the Carlton United Brewery's boardroom. So this is where all the big decisions to do with beer were made. In fact, one could argue this room determined the state of the nation.
It's all original too, so everything's the same as it was back in the day?
Yeah, so we sort of did nothing. And then we brought in all of the kind of creature comforts that we need today, such as lovely air conditioning, good lighting, great sound system. It would have been one of a series of rooms, so that there would have been a dining room next door to it. And you can see here that the door's been left open and a little bit of the street art has come into the building, a lovely piece by Scott Marsh. Can I show you the bathroom? It's an amazing cultural time capsule. This was the bathroom that was used for the boardroom.
But it's men's only.
Yes, so that's the thing. That's why it's such an interesting cultural time capsule, because you realise the decisions to do with there were actually made by men.
I'll just hold back on that one.
Yeah. And then, of course, we move into here, which is the real bathroom. And the fun thing about this bathroom is that we're inside, looking inside.
So this is a new little pocket on the outside of the building?
Yes.
This bar feels a lot like the old days. It feels really authentic.
Absolutely, and that was really important to us as well. So when we first took over the bar was actually located along the back wall. However, as you can see from the ceiling, it gave us the clues where actually the original bar was located. And there used to be something called the 6 o'clock swill. In the olden days, pubs were not open for as many hours as they are now. So people finished work at 5 o'clock, had 1 hour to drink and really rushed. And so the publicans really built their pubs to that requirement of serving as many people in that hour as possible.
And then what about these tiles? They seem very Sydney to me.
Again, a practical reason for those tiles. What you would do at the end of the night, you'll see a number of hose connectors that are still existing, is that you would connect a hose and you would wash the entirety of the pub down. For us, the history of not only this hotel, but also the neighborhood and how the hotel can facilitate someone from the outside to come into this neighborhood was really important.
So we're getting a very authentic taste of old Sydney at the Old Clare.
I'd like to think so, yes.
I like what Tim the architect was saying about the idea of unbuilding. It's about taking history and old bones like these to create something new. They've achieved that in spades here, retaining much more of the old than most would dare, to create something vibrant and modern and a place where the cool people want to go.
If you'd like to know more or book any of the hotels, resorts and lodges featured in the series, go to hotelsbydesign.com or scan the QR code on the screen.
If you're going to the Gold Coast and you love design and you love the design experience, then the Darling is a hotel that you must visit.
This visual tapestry of so many different materials and finishes kind of coming together to really immerse you in the space.
If you're going to spend a week somewhere, then this would be the place you'd want to spend a week.
This building has been quite an iconic building on the Gold Coast since the 1980s. It's a 600-room, 5-star hotel with a lot on its own island, mind. But another hotel has emerged on the same island that's taking the design conversation to a whole new level.
The increasing demand for the Gold Coast is continuing to grow. So for us, we saw the opportunity to create more rooms. But also in developing a new hotel, we wanted to think about what else does the island need? And we certainly felt that the need for a more luxurious hotel, something that really embraces what's great about the Gold Coast.
What's going on here?
Well, this is one of the art features within the hotel. Its actual inspiration is that of a jellyfish.
A jellyfish?
Yeah, I think if you imagine at the top of the ceiling is actually the actual ocean top, and those are the jellyfish, the crystals hanging from below the ocean.
So, Nathan, it was your job to basically get the Darling from paper to what we see today.
That's right. I arrived in 2015 and myself and my team developed a brief.
And what was that brief?
Essentially, it was to create a world-class property and make use of the fantastic site.
And this pool, I mean, I'm no engineer, but this looks like a frightening challenge.
We're actually standing on the edge of the building right here, and the pool is cantilevered out over the edge, about 5 metres.
Get out.
The pool was prefabricated into 5 individual sections, weighing about 10 tonnes each, lifted up individually by 2 cranes. There's definitely a few sleepless nights into planning this one, especially with the wind and the weather in a location like this.
What do you mean the weather? It's perfect here every day, isn't it? So Nathan, I noticed these little sculptural pieces outside each room.
Each room has its own identifier, locally commissioned by local artists, a customised sculptural element that is unique to each room.
All right, so this is one of the rooms, obviously a penthouse suite.
No, Mike, this is actually a Stellar suite. This is one of our entry-level suites.
But it's huge.
It's 80 square metres, so in comparison to what you might call a standard 5-star hotel room, which would be about 45.
Double, yeah.
Each room has its own balcony, makes use of the views out to the front of the property and also to the north and the south.
And what's this? Oh, hello.
Yeah, so we have a freestanding bath and beautiful Italian marble. We have a Fior di Pesco on the bench top and a Botticino on the floor.
The level of detail in here is just beautiful. Well, if this is an entry-level suite, I'd love to see a penthouse. I feel like I'm walking into somebody's home. It's, well, so homely.
It's as big as a small house, actually. The interior design is built upon layers. We start with a hand-tufted carpet, right through to our specialist chandeliers, designed and built by Aglo Systems in Melbourne.
Yes, it's really holding court, isn't it? I haven't actually been on the Gold Coast for about 10 years now, and to me, the evolution is striking. It is way more than just sun, beach and theme parks. And the Darling is really just another reflection of what's going on here. Now that is a Moreton Bay bug.
TREETOPS Lodge is really showcasing the beauty of the natural environment that New Zealand has to offer from the top to the bottom.
It is a very sentimental project, deeply rooted in the past more so than in the future.
So, John, the idea behind the house is that you used fallen trees so that you didn't actually have to mill any.
Correct.
It was kind of reusing what you found on the forest floor.
Whilst the forest is growing, it's absorbing CO2, but once it gets to maturity, it doesn't. So to recycle and use what has fallen, we said that's an important principle.
And that was kind of an ethos that you carried through the whole of the architecture. You used stones, these stones, in the floor.
We went as far as we possibly could. Even the fireplace, which is about 45 feet high, it's discovered from all directions. So when you look around, again, to the south, it's picture framed in virgin Potocow forest.
I do notice that there are a variation of spaces here. You know, you've got that sitting space in the corner there,
yes,
which actually connects you really to the bush. And then you've got this kind of, do we call it old-fashioned library?
Old-fashioned library, a very traditional library. So the reason for that, people are inspired by different things in different spaces. And I believe it is important to create the spaces that they love, that they felt comfortable in. And that's part of their story. It's not my story, it's theirs. And we want, all our guests have great stories.
And John, another space, a contrast again, you know, what, billiard table, games room.
Absolutely, and once again, similar concepts, but different decor, different feel, trout fishing, the boys, hunting.
I do notice, John, there's an awful lot of dead things in here.
Part of eco-management, you have to cull, don't you? So you should habitat manage. So we allow some deer to grow large, but we do a lot of estate to plate. So most of our produce we serve here, the proteins, come from the estate. Most of the vegetables we grow on the estate, which make for fabulous cuisine.
And the dining room has a really nice connection to our little pond out here, John, with the trout.
Even with more formal spaces, our intention was to try and keep that connection with nature and bring nature in. So when you look at the furniture in here too, so everything came from off the property. This was just one of the same big rimu trees.
Yeah.
And so it's one slab of rimu. And so we sent it up to Sefton Parry in Auckland, created that one. And this has got a black miry dowel, a very hard timber.
It's actually a modern inlay of an old timber.
A fantastic timber, exciting timber.
And one massive piece of timber at the end of the day.
As long as you don't have to move it too often, it's great.
And, you know, there's something really engaging about the New Zealand native bush, isn't it? You know, it's so lovely, and all the dark greens that you actually see within it, it's beautiful.
And every single species here is world unique, as you know, except for one, the kauri. The kauri is the only one that has a genus in 2 other continents. So
really? I did not know that, John. Thank you.
There we are, bit of trivia.
The amazing thing about TREETOPS is the unique experience of living in the bush, surrounded by bird life, animal life, waterfalls and glowworms. It's fabulous. Our judges have made a decision. Going through to the finals from this episode is Sydney's Old Clare Hotel.
I've spent a bit of time at the Old Clare and I think it's a wonderful building. It's done a lot to rejuvenate the entire area, so I think it's great that it's gone through into the finals.
These are just simple, humble hotels with great design that keeps people coming back.
Which hotel from the series do you think should win? Vote for your favourite hotel in the Queensland Australia People's Choice Award. Just by casting your vote, you could win the ultimate Queensland holiday with flights included. Just go to hotelsbydesign.com or scan the QR code on the screen and cast your vote. Good luck.
Congratulations to the Old Clare Hotel in Sydney for making it through to the finals. Join us again when we look at more beautifully designed hotels in New Zealand and Australia on Hotels by Design.
This was the headquarters for Paramount Pictures, where all the film essentially was made back in the 40s.
You're going to have to explain this.
If you think this is good, you've got to check out our grand staircase.
Oh my goodness.
Through this portal is another world.
My God. It's the most impressive entry I've seen in 20 years of filming.
If you'd like to know more or book any of the hotels, resorts and lodges featured in the series, go to hotelsbydesign.com